This is the passage from the custom house down to the station house and the pier. Behind me is the custom house where I worked for over 40 years. I came here on the 1st of February 57 on a short-term assignment, but as events turned out, I'm still here. I dealt at the time during my duration here with shipping, registry shipping and other activities associated with the customs service. I stayed here because I like the environment, I like the people, and I slotted in fairly well socially, so hence I have settled down here now, and with my family gone, I'm still around. During a trip to my home county of Cork in 1958, I met a Killarney girl, Esther Collins, and after a number of years in 1961, we got married in her home area in Fossa in Killarney. I was still working in Fenit, and we settled down here in Fenit, originally in rented property. Ultimately we acquired a property of our own. We were blessed with 4 children, none of whom is around at the moment, as is the tradition, but they are in different parts of the world. I'm standing here on the bridge overlooking Fenit railway station. When I arrived here, it didn't have the passenger service, but it had a good cargo service. Most of the cargoes discharged at Fenit Pier were loaded into railway wagons. They were brought up here, they were weighed and transmitted to various points throughout the county. In the initial stages, the train engines were steam engines, or puffing billies as we used to call them, but of course the transition to diesel took place after that. The station was also used, of course, seasonally for the transport of beet, which was grown in the area. It was transferred up to the sugar factory in Mallow, which of course has since been closed down. Also during the summertime, this station used to be visited by holiday trains from Cork City, and even in my own time, relatives of mine would have joined the train in Cork, got in as far as Tralee, and then the people of Tralee could join the train and come down here for a few hours. The train headed back to Tralee and then back to Cork again. This is the signal that controlled the movements of the old steam trains in days gone by. There were some of them here when I arrived, and they really had a character of their own. Steam trains had a romance all of their own. The sound, the whistle, the smell of that mixture of steam and smoke was never replicated by the diesel trains. The diesel trains were really functional but devoid of character. I enjoyed watching the steam trains down here, and of course they were very effective in their day, and they were also supported by a turntable behind me here at the other end of the railway station. I've been beekeeping for well over 50 years, and it gives me endless pleasure for a number of reasons. It keeps me in touch with the environment around me. I watch the development of the flora that sustain the bees. We start off with the dandelion, the humble dandelion, then we go to the white thorn, and later on we have the white clover and the blackberry, and if you're living in a mountain area we would also possibly get a bit of heather honey. This is my first check on this hive in the year 2012, and they seem quite active. It's a nice fine morning, and I will be doing the normal checks on a hive to see, first of all, if it's queen right after the winter, if it has enough stores. Right, we'll see what's happening inside here in the hive. I'm going to give the bees a light smoking. They seem to be in good humour today. It's a nice fine day, so like ourselves, the bees are in good humour on a fine day too. So there are a few bees here on top, and I'll just shake those in like that, and we'll take away the cover. Now what we have here are 6 frames of bees. They're like the leaves of a book, really. Now we'll see what's happening inside here in this family of bees. And I noticed another thing as well, is that there are some varroa strips in over the winter, and I'll have to remove those. So here's for it. I'll take out the first frame and we'll see what it tells us. Being the back frame and early in the season, I don't anticipate a lot of activity here, except the first good news anyway is that there are plenty of bees around after the winter, and I will have a look out as well for a special lady, the mother of all the hive, the queen, and when we come across her, she will probably have markings on her. All of those bees that you're looking at the moment are worker bees. They're the grafters in the hive. They bring in either nectar, pollen, water, or sometimes an adhesive called propolis. And from now on, their life expectancy is only about 6 weeks. Now we're looking at frame number 3. Again, plenty of young bees at the hatching stage. It takes them 9 days actually from the laying of the egg until the cell is covered over, and then in about another week the maggot or the larvae that's inside in that becomes a bee like any of these around here. When they hatch out, of course, they get simple domestic duties first, and they progress along the work line, and in the last 3 weeks of their life they go out flying, foraging and bringing back stuff. There's an interesting thing there. There's a line of pollen which the bees are bringing in and storing, and it's coincidental, it's pre-planned by them, that the pollen is always near where young bees are rearing, because that's the protein food for the young bees. We're looking here at the lady with the white spot, and she's the queen bee. There is only one in every hive, and she has laid all the eggs that has produced all the bees in this hive, and she will actually lay her own weight of eggs in a day. Now in the middle of summer, when things are nice and warm and there's plenty of food around, she will be laying at her peak. During the winter time, on the other hand, she's hardly laying at all, and the laying rate progresses from now up to about mid-June, and then it eases off again from mid-June towards the end of the season. Beekeeping is also a social hobby. I'm a member of the Kerry Beekeepers. I was a founder member of it back around 1961. There are now, I think, 5 beekeeping associations in the county, but whatever association you're in, you meet kindred spirits. We tell one another some beekeeping information, we tell one another lies, but by and large it's an interesting group of people to meet anytime. I have an interest in indoor bowling, and every Thursday night with some of my neighbours we have a session in the local parish hall. It provides good entertainment, good fun, and a little competition, but we never let that aspect of it get out of hand. There was no tradition for bowling in this area, but the locals have taken to it and are getting immense pleasure out of it. It whiles away the winter time as well. I like to go for a walk here in the St. Brendan Heritage Park. The park was the original idea of my friend Antahar Gerard O'Donoghue, who for my sins asked me to chair a group to collect and erect a statue of St. Brendan here on this rock. I know Father Gerard for many years, back 1948, but in 2004 we reached the fruition of our work when we got this wonderful bronze statue to St. Brendan erected here on the top of the Samphire Island rock. The statue itself weighs about 1.5 tons. It was fabricated by a firm called Cast in Dublin, and whilst it was being developed and manufactured, Father Gerard and myself did a few trips to Dublin, and ultimately we got it up here in 2004, and a number of dignitaries, including the Bishop of Kerry and a minister of tourism at the time, John O'Donoghue, all contributed to the opening, or the various openings of and the unveiling of the statue. I am now here at the entrance to a lovely specimen or replica of a beehive hut constructed by the Foss Employment Agency in Tralee, and it replicates really a feature of the West Kerry and Brendan's area as well. The beehive huts, are, as they're locally known, the Cricoga Back. And whilst the old ones may not have had the tools and the implements that are available to Foss today, consequently this would be an upmarket version of the original ones that you would see on your tour around the Dingle Peninsula. Arising from the erection of this statue, the next development was the establishment of the St. Brendan Trail. Now, there are 7 stations in this Brendan Trail. This St. Brendan Trail has proved very popular, and as a consequence of that, we got our local video expert, Jim McCarthy, to do a video of the trip around to the stations. And even further on, this whole St. Brendan business attracted international attention from an American film company who were analysing the discovery of America. Consequently, this is becoming a tourist attraction for the village, which is very necessary at the present time, because we need all the armoury we can generate to attract visitors to this area, with an economic spin-off as well, which was always one of my interests in Fenit. It had a number of attractions, starting off with swimming, walkways, sea angling, boating. Canoeing was very popular here for a few years, and now I think St. Brendan may be adding to those attractions. I'm looking down on Fenit Pier this morning, a hive of activity, vehicles from Limerick, Kerry, and of course the main purpose of the operation is the loading of cranes from the Lieber factory in Killarney. Fenit Pier then, and the activity there was totally different from what you're seeing this morning. Firstly, you had just a pier that was reconstructed after World War II. It started business again in 1955. Prior to that, there was actually mostly a timber structure here. And also, at that particular time, instead of lorry transport, you had trains coming up and down the pier on their way to Tralee. And that was one of the advantages of Fenit Port at the time. The ship that's there at the moment, the Jork, JRK, is taking today's cargo, but much bigger ones come in from time to time, and when the bigger ships come in, they need the assistance of tugs from the Fines area to berth them safely at the pier and to get them out again from the pier on their way to foreign parts. Lieber's factory is very active at the moment. I think they have almost 30 cranes on the books for this year, but they are really keeping Fenit Pier active for a number of years past and have been one of the more successful factories to arrive in Kerry. It's always pleasant to sit in Fenit looking out at a lovely sunset. I think it's one of the strong features of Fenit that its sunsets are unparalleled in this country. I remember about 55 years ago when I came down here first, I had a fishing rod over the viaduct at Fenit on a fine summer's evening, and I looked out west. There were cattle across the top of the pint over behind the bathing slip. The sun was sinking down behind the Mahonys, maybe a little further north. And I said, if heaven is anything like this, I'm all for it. On a personal level, now in my retirement, I won't say my reclining years, I'll say my maturing years. I hope to enjoy this for a few more days anyway.